Welcome into the Red Couch Rewind. This is where we recap some of those top interviews you've seen on Eye on Northeast Kansas, the TV show. You can watch it live 4 o'clock Central Time, Monday through Friday. We stream it live from our WIBW studios in Topeka, Kansas. We've had guests on our show who also have delivered some speeches over at Washburn University over the past couple weeks. One of those was the voice that many associate with a pivotal moment in Topeka's history. Bill Kurtis. He was on the air June 8, 1966, delivering the warning as a tornado bore onto town and started tearing through the city. For God's sake, take cover. He reminisced during a night with an audience of several hundred people at Washburn University. But before he went over there, he visited our studios. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking time to come and visit with all of us here, because it is a pivotal moment in our history here as a station and truly defining what we can do as broadcasters.
I was 26 then.
26,
right out of law school and filling in for, and I had a part-time job here. I was a weatherman for a while, and I'm now 86. And I've come back a number of times, and every time I do, why, Topeka has changed. It looks beautiful. But that June 8th date, of course, resonates with me and with all those who were there and have passed that word on to their families.
Of course, for you, it was, as your book is titled, Whirlwind. It really spun you into a long, long career. You didn't think you'd be a lifelong broadcaster, did you?
I had accepted a job with a trial firm in Wichita. It's going to be a lawyer. You go to 3 years of law school, you know, you
don't want to waste it.
Maybe I should practice. And so I was studying, left a law review class, and came out with standing in front of the camera. And nobody thought this was the big one until Ed Rutherford, our cameraman, called in and said, "It's big. We have a tornado on the ground. It's headed for the city." We didn't even go then because we wanted to confirm it. And then he said, well, it's wiped out Huntington apartment complex.
Right there on the other side, the east side of Burnett's Mound.
So that meant everybody, and the studio filled with everybody who was working. One, they wanted to know, should they go home? Two, and then they realized, we better get to work. That's our job.
Yes.
And they did a great job.
And it went all the way through the city. Was it just that night, Bill, or what were the next several days like around here?
Well, it took us a while to get into the terrible areas. Judge Newton Vickers, circuit court judge at the time, came walking into the studio a couple hours afterwards, and he said, Washburn's gone. Just like this, kind of a shocking awareness that this is really bad, so that everything leading up to Washburn must be gone too. And then how far on the ground did it stay? So you can't get through with telephones. We didn't have a mini cam, a remote that can go out and give us pictures. We didn't see much of the damage until in the dark. We'd get some lights on it. Didn't see it from up here. A few people saw it coming through who left the building and went out. But you're right, it slowly moves. I felt like sort of like Ronald Reagan doing a baseball game, you know, with a teletype, it's a single in the right field. And people, would come and then give you a word, how bad and where it is.
And it is amazing because part of the story too is that, lest we forget, Manhattan and the K-State campus had quite a bit of damage from a tornado that hit there earlier in the day. But we didn't have like these cell phones where you instantly send a photo and you know everything that happened there. We were just still gathering the information from that location.
We didn't know the severity of Manhattan. It was a roof that blew off a garage. We now do.
Yeah.
And people have told me, oh, did you know, we had it there? Well, I wish we had known more about it. You have all the magic of radar and satellites. but we didn't have any of that.
Why, you're going to be part of an event tonight. I get to ask you questions. My picture's this small and yours is this big on the thing. I'm just a small part of it. We're going to have this public Q&A later this evening out at Washburn University in the Memorial Ballroom. Free event, benefits the Kansas Book Festival, which is why we have their logo behind there. Why is it important to you to come back and hear the stories and share your own story?
It's a piece of history for me and for the city. This is not a myth. This is a reality. For the broadcasters, it means, as it was for me, it laid out my life for 60 years. This is my life. And I took journalism very, very seriously because I saw that lives could be saved. And I hope to communicate that to other broadcasters. We get wrapped up in the churn of all the stuff on television that isn't that serious. So once we nail it down, and all the facts have to go to, you have to realize, okay, who's serious and when do you go with the rating? Well, we waited for 2 confirmations, and I trusted the cameraman. Absolutely, and Charlie Ross the same. He was the manager, and then what do you say? We didn't have any manuals.
Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing much more from you. It is always a pleasure to catch up with Bill Kurtis and moderating that Q&A. It was very obvious how much his warning and his voice is really embedded in the memories of many people in Topeka. Washburn also hosted a special event with Lisa Phillips. She is one of the survivors of the Jeffrey Epstein situation, the sexual abuse scandal that has made headlines over several generations. Lisa has used her story for some advocacy work now and feels it is important to talk about what happened and their search for justice. She visited our studio to share some of those thoughts. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. How old were you when all of this took place?
Well, I was in my early 20s when I first met Jeffrey Epstein.
And was this a long-term period of time that this all happened or a short-term?
Well, I met him on the island. I was a fashion model just doing a photo shoot on the island, and he sent a boat and we went over there for the day and didn't expect to be assaulted later on that evening.
It was that quick? It just happened that quick?
Well, there was a few hours of grooming and getting to know you and making you feel safe and heard and seen and asking about your ambitions and that kind of thing. But yeah, there was a massage later on that evening.
I think it can be difficult for people to understand that. You mentioned making you feel safe. How long did it take before you realized this was not a safe situation and this was not acceptable behavior that was happening?
Well, as I've learned, people can groom you for hours, days, months, years, but because I was on the island, I mean, I don't think he had that much time, but he definitely spent a few hours with me to get to know me, ask me a lot of questions about my family, see how protected I was, and know my ambitions and my goals and things like that.
How did you come to know some of the other survivors as all of this has unfolded? Was it right away that you found each other, or was it through hearing these stories that you went, that was me too? Well,
that was back in the 2000 what I just told you, so this is 15 years later when he died by suicide in jail. After that, I started reaching out to other survivors because I felt like there was something, answers that I needed, questions that I needed answered. I just wanted to know what happened to me. And the only people that could really fill that in for me were other survivors. And so I reached out to them. Virginia Giuffre was one of them. She was speaking out about former Prince Andrew, and I had seen him on the island. So I wanted to really just to support her, and that's kind of how it started from the beginning. So it took a few years for me actually to find my voice.
And now that you have found your voice and you continue advocating, it could be, I think sometimes people wonder, why do survivors talk? Why do you even ask survivors to talk when it comes to us in the media? And it's because of what I said. There are real people behind these things that happen. Why do you choose to speak out? And how important is it for you to have that choice to speak out?
Right, well, you always have a choice too. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been better for me not to have said anything, but it was eating away at me, knowing that there were so many hundreds of survivors that I knew of. We've come to find out there's over 1,400 that DOJ has said exist in the files. I just wanted to support other survivors. That's how it initially started. Then as I started telling my story, speaking to attorneys being deposed for cases, my attorneys were like, Lisa, you were trafficked. And I just didn't believe it. I just never thought that, trafficking is like being thrown in a white van and shipped off to another country. I didn't know that trafficking was that, Epstein was sending quite a few models to auditions in Los Angeles, or going for castings for Victoria's Secret, and, sending quite a few girls to the same person. And then I realized what trafficking was. So it's something that has built on every year. The entire last year has been the most explosive, with us speaking out at Capitol Hill and fighting for the Transparency Act, being at the Pam Bondi hearing, the State of the Union, and this continued fight for the release of the files.
Why do you feel it's important for everyone to know what happened, or at least have the opportunity to know what happened?
Because there was hundreds of girls that were abused and assaulted, and it wasn't just one man. He had enablers, and he had help, and he had people that benefited from what he was doing. And I have so many survivor sisters. I have survivor sisters that were 14 and 15 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's quite young.
Yeah.
When you think about bringing the message to Topeka and talking at a human trafficking awareness event, what is it that you hope people see when they hear your story? Because your story is one case, and albeit a very large case with hundreds, thousands of people involved, very high profile, but yet there are cases like that that never reach headlines.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Most victims stay silent. The abuser wants you to feel shame, and through shame you're silenced. And so we have this movement to speak out, to own your story, and through owning your story and going on programs like this, and through our advocacy work, just inspiring people to own their story and empower others. It's just part of it, part of the healing process, I believe, is to start talking about it with a good support group.
What do you hope everyone learns? Like, when we hear your story, what should we all know that we all can do to make a difference?
Well, I always spoke out for other survivors, and each time that I speak out, there are hundreds of survivors around the world that reach out to me and say, this happened to me too at this age, or they see and are inspired by others that are taking that platform and doing that. So I just think it's a movement where, when you empower others, it's an education. And when you keep talking about it, we're educating. And that's the only way to get the shift in society to understand what's going on, is by education.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Appreciate you being here. Definitely a very powerful message from Lisa Phillips. She does have a website if you want to learn more about her story and her advocacy work, really across the country and around the halls of Congress. City leaders are really tackling the issue of data centers. It has been a topic of discussion for governing bodies all around Northeast Kansas, as it has all around the country. Topeka and Shawnee County are no exception. There was a big discussion before the Shawnee County Commission recently, as they grappled with some folks wanting a full moratorium, and what they arrived at instead, which is what commissioners say is a way to kind of slow the process down if someone should apply to build one in our area. Commissioner Kevin Cook was on the show to share his thoughts not long after that discussion happened. We're going to tell you a little bit about some information for those of you cleaning up from storms in a little bit, but we want to start with this data center talk that happened. A lot of things have been going out. In fact, the county attorney, or county counselor, had a news conference about it to clear up some misinformation. What exactly did you all do yesterday when it came to data centers?
So as we look at other communities around Kansas, and let's just back up, the Kansas legislature last session passed a bill that gave significant tax credits to individuals or companies that would establish data centers in Kansas. Since then, we've seen a number of data centers that have become discussed or pop up around the state of Kansas. When we looked at our own code and regulations, it came to our realization that we really don't have any regulations as to how to regulate a data center or battery storage. So the process yesterday was, how are we going to regulate, or how are we going to handle if we received an application for a data center or battery storage?
So if you hadn't done that, anyone who came in, looked at an area that was zoned industrial, you basically would not have had any choice but to let them build.
that we still would have had the final discussion maybe come before the county, but you're absolutely right. We would not have had any regulations as to how they would build that data center. So this is actually putting into place rules and regulations on what we want to see or require of a battery center or data storage.
Why not, though? So what it means is if someone wants to build one now, it's a conditional use permit. They have to go through special, basically, hearings in order to get their project approved. Why not do a whole moratorium, though? That's the objection from a lot of folks. They're like, let's just put the brakes on it entirely until we do some more study.
You know, I think there was a lot of good discussion yesterday with the commissioners about a moratorium and why not to do a moratorium. And I don't think that we are at a spot now where we're wanting to do a moratorium, but what we do want to have is we want to have any application, which we don't have any at this point. We're basically trying to get in front of if there is any application. But if there is an application received, it would have to go through the planning department first, then it goes to the planning commission. The public would have the opportunity to speak at a planning commission meeting. Then it would go to the county commission. The public would then be notified and they would have the ability to appear before the county commission. The county commission could approve, deny, or they could send it back to the planning department for more consideration. So we have a multi-layered process. So we're not looking at a data center being built tomorrow.
Okay, and no official application yet.
No, we
so
have none.
we will stay tuned to see how imminent it is. These discussions are going on in a lot of counties. Let's talk about those storms that we had earlier this week, Monday night into Tuesday morning. A lot of folks are cleaning up damage out there. Very interesting, something I wasn't aware of. Some folks could actually be able to get help if they qualify and are in certain situations.
The Kansas Department of Emergency Management, in partnership with the Shawnee County Emergency Management, is putting forth a service that if people have storm damage, maybe you have lost food or had damage to your buildings, or maybe you have tree limbs that are still down, you can contact the Shawnee County Emergency Management. The number that we have is 785-217-7223. I think there's also a QR code.
There's also a QR code. If we could put that on the screen right now, because I believe that is on the graphic, is this QR code. So you can hold up your phone, folks, and do that. And there's the phone number as well, 785-217-7233.
And if you contact that number or scan that QR code, make your application, we're going to hook you up with agencies and try to see if we can get some services to you to help with that storm cleanup.
And it was interesting, Emergency Manager Dusty Nichols was just sharing with us, it's a fairly new program.
Yes.
And it's about connecting folks with local agencies. They kind of have a list of people who may be providing certain services, like perhaps you're an older person, you don't have a chainsaw or certainly don't know how to use one or shouldn't be using one. There may be some volunteers out there who could assist you with clearing some of these limbs.
Yeah, this is a new thing that we're doing in Shawnee County, so this is a new program, and I'm really excited about seeing it roll out and help people that are maybe needing help with that storm cleanup.
And you saw some of that information too. Some people lost power and maybe the food that you had was damaged and you can't really afford a lot to replace. There could be some help for that.
Correct.
So this is really interesting. Why would you encourage people to at least try this?
Well, I think that, we have a lot of people that say, there's nothing I can do. Well, we really want to know if there is something we can do, and instead of leaving the tree limbs on the ground, instead of just having to be, out that cost, there might be some other alternative or agencies that can help you out if you're in need.
How did your neighborhood do? Are you okay?
So far, our neighborhood made it. How about you?
Yeah. Well, okay, a few trees, but not unexpected. They were kind of older trees. But how would you grade how the not just at the county level with the various agencies that were involved in the response, but even just the public, communities, neighbors helping neighbors? What did you see in the wake of this storm?
What I saw was, in central Topeka and around, middle of Topeka, a lot of neighbors came out and worked together, quick cleanup, working on that. I know that's what you're going to see across the community. And that's one of the things about Topeka is that we do come together and helping out each other in times of need.
And now from here, I know Shawnee County Solid Waste has been giving instructions as far as bundling. There's not necessarily a free drop-off debris day, correct?
Right.
What should people be doing?
So the dump day has been rescheduled. It'll be in the fall. But you should be bundling your tree limbs together in stacks of 12 bundles because we want it to be cut up. We don't want the whole tree limb because it has to get in the back of the trucks.
Yeah, and they're going to pick it up with your regular trash. Real quick, you were at Heartland Park this morning.
Well, I wasn't able to make the ribbon cut, but they did ribbon cutting this morning at Heartland Park, and then there was a ribbon cutting at Washburn Tech East. So north with the cosmetologist. Thank you.
So a lot going on.
Yes.
A lot going on.
A lot going on in the community.
Very good.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, and a lot to talk about, and we're going to keep up on all those discussions. I'm sure we haven't heard the last of any of those things because you heard the forecast. Topeka city leaders also say that data centers are top of mind for them. City manager Robert Perez was on the show. We asked him about not just the data center question, but also a big milestone in construction of the new Polk Quincy Viaduct area in Topeka. I-70 through downtown is now fully shut down, and he talked about the response that not only KDOT, but also drivers have been having in these first days of that situation. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
There's also a lot going on around the area right now.
lot.
There's another meeting tonight in Pottawatomie County having to do with data centers. Shawnee County, we're hearing, is starting to get interest, folks reaching out, exploring the question. When it comes to the city of Topeka, have you heard anything about data centers to this point, and how would that process look or unfold? Would it come to the governing body or would it go elsewhere?
Well, I mean, obviously there's talk around the country, right, for data centers. There's nothing that's been brought to the city of Topeka like, hey, we want to put a data center, you know, on Topeka Boulevard or anything like that. Again, there's talks in the county, and I mean, there's nothing that's come to the city as far as, hey, we want to put something in within city limits. So
wait and see, basically,
Wait and
is kind of
see.
what's going to happen there.
Pretty much.
Also, another big issue, Polk Quincy Viaduct. It will shut down through the city of Topeka on Monday, 12:01 a.m. Monday. And we keep saying it because inevitably people are going to be like, wait, I didn't know this was happening. It is going to happen. You had a presentation about it last night at City Council. What is the main headline, do you think, that people need to keep in mind as this closure continues for several months now?
Well, I mean, this has been communicated since the beginning of the project, right? So it's not like
It seems theoretical, but now it's actually
well,
here.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Oh, Christmas is like 6 months
Yeah.
away, but I mean, yeah, it's I have to give credit to KDOT and Bartlett and West for moving the project forward. Definitely got to the point where, I mean, if you looked at the presentation last night, there's pictures where, you know, the highway is literally, you just need to knock down what's there to continue building, right? So. Again, the communication plan, I think KDOT's done a great job as far as putting out the information, whether it's on social media, whether it's just through news and whatnot. And again, last night the presentation was, you know, similar to everything that we've been hearing. So, you know, the discussions of ensuring that there's public safety access, that there's detour routes, I mean, all that's been in place and been discussed. And so
That was expressed last night, some concern about response times for public safety. Is there
Right.
anything police and fire are doing to make sure they're kind of in maybe different positions or correct positions so they don't run into those delays?
So, I mean, anytime that we have dispatch or changes in dispatch, our public safety teams, Shawnee County, fire, police, they're all in the loop as far as what's open, what's not, to ensure that we don't have any lapse in response times.
Can we expect extra enforcement out there on Monday morning? Because inevitably, Monday morning, as people are trying to get to work, people are going to be like, uh-oh, where do we go from here when they run into the exits where they have to get off? So how are we going to make sure people can navigate through the city?
A lot of signage. I mean, it's going to be a lot of detour signs. Last night, the discussion with KDOT was how do we get these types of closures into, you know, things like Waze or into Google Maps. And so, again, it's going to be a lot of signage. And anytime you have a change in traffic pattern, I mean, there's obviously going to be some learning curve as far as, you know, what's open, what's not. And I also say too, I mean, there's going to be some changes, you know, throughout the closures. So the good thing is, again, I think the progress on the project and hopefully, you know, once this is done, it's going to be beautiful.
We'll be patient, right? As we always say. Another great presentation, we had this on our news last night, was what you were hearing from Astral Mental Health, Behavioral Health and Recovery, and also the Topeka Police Department, their partnership and working together. What did you take away from that?
So I've been very excited about this initiative as we have identified a gap as far as response to our behavioral health. You know, some of the challenges that we have in our community. Across the country, there are co-responder models where you have a police officer, a mental health or behavioral health specialist, and even a paramedic. There's models that have co-responders like that out there. A lot of times when people are experiencing behavioral health or mental health crisis, a police officer doesn't necessarily have to be the first person that they have contact with, right? And so Chief Vallejo, his team, Chief Longstaff, and fire, I mean, again, that group, that core group that's been working with our community partners to include Astra, we're very excited about being able to roll out that co-responder model. Police has, I think the number that they gave out since we started this collaboration with Astra, they've increased Astra's workload 209% for the fact that we are making sure that our officers know that the service is available. So again, that they can have a mental health or a behavioral health specialist available to take calls that maybe police officers don't need to be the first.
And that really
the
means
first
people
contact.
are getting the help they need and getting connected with a resource, which is an improvement, a step forward,
Oh,
as,
yeah,
as
absolutely.
Assistant Chief Cross said
Yes.
last night. It's a baby step, but it's a step.
Absolutely.
Which is what we need to see. So we said we were going to talk about some fun stuff, things that are coming up. So you have Tire Take Back Day, which maybe doesn't sound
Yeah,
very
it's gonna
fun,
be
but if
super
you've got
fun.
if you've got a bunch of tires hanging around your property, you're so excited. What's the whole goal of having this day?
The goal of having this day, and we have another one I think later this summer,
Mm-hmm.
is basically it's an opportunity for the community to bring tires to a pickup location rather than, and I'm not saying this happens, but we'd rather have them delivered to this site than have them somewhere out on a street corner or something.
Right, people
So-
just dump them.
Yeah. So again, this is going to be a service. I really think it's a great event as far as being able to dispose of tires without putting them out on the sidewalks.
Dispose of them properly.
Yeah.
In a nice way. Also, you just announced today the next Community Resource Expo, the second one, June 25th at Oakland Community Center. What can people all learn at that?
Basically, it's going to be a collaborative effort between the city and a number of the community partners. A number of city departments will be there. You can get any service from requesting a smoke detector being installed to, in the event that you have questions on development. We'll have representatives there, and then I know that I think Azura Credit Union is going to be there. There's just a number of partners.
And speaking of smoke detectors, Fire Station 9 is next up on your tour a day fire station open houses.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Again, I think we've talked about these before. Again,
So fun.
Yeah, come dressed up. If if you ever have questions about your local fire station or the services that we offer.
And let's
Yeah.
face it, kids get to see the big trucks, which is super fun.
I still do that.
We're going to have the information on the Tire Take Back Day and that Community Resources Expo on WIBW.com in case you missed those details. City Manager Perez, appreciate you. So a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about for days, weeks, and months ahead, but there also are a lot of great events that are happening around the area. We will touch on some of those when your Red Couch Rewind returns. Welcome back to the Red Couch Rewind as we turn our attention to some events happening around Topeka and Northeast Kansas. Juneteenth. The Juneteenth holiday is Friday, June 19th, and we have a couple organizations that are planning a lot of events. Some of them are already underway. The Topeka Family and Friends Juneteenth Committee always plans a whole week of activities. They started the month of June rather. They started the month of June with a flag raising outside the State House. They had a gospel concert on Sunday. More things are happening all week long. We had on the show Shavonna Holmes along with a couple young people who are going to be part of the activities, Anitria Miller and William Guthings. Here's what they had to tell us. You've already had a flag raising. Weezy, what else do we have going on for Juneteenth?
Well, we start off our week on June 14th, that's Sunday, at St. John AME Church at 3 o'clock. That's at 701 Southwest Topeka Boulevard. And then we have our Pop and Paint. We'll be having hot dogs. These are all free events.
Nice.
And that'll be on the Monday, which is the 15th of June, at 1921 Southeast Indiana, which is the Lois Curtis Center. And on Tuesday, we have Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
And this is all a free event, again, and that's at 1921 Southeast Indiana.
Thursday, you go back to St. John for a scholarship banquet, but
Yes.
the 19th, Juneteenth itself is the big day.
Yes.
The parade.
We have the parade at 11 o'clock. We're going down Kansas Avenue. We need as many people to come as possible. And it doesn't matter what color you are, how old you are, how young you are. We want everybody to enjoy this historic celebration. It's 250 years in America, right?
Yeah.
And we have so much to celebrate. So come celebrate with us. We have a car show afterwards, and then we have our pageant and our fashion show at 6 o'clock
And that's
at
why
New Mount Zion.
that's why we have Anitria and William here. So Anitria, what is the youth fashion show and pageant all about? What's going to happen there?
So basically, for like the pageant and everything, we're going to be dancing to like a few songs on stage. I don't really know how it's gonna be formatted.
But you're going to dance and you're
But
going to
we're
have a good
gonna
time.
dance. We're gonna have a fun time.
How many people are involved in it?
There's like probably six.
7 of us.
Six or seven. 6 or 7.
That will be very fun. William, what are you going to be doing as part of that event?
On the pageant, we're going to be, of course, the dancing, and we'll be displaying our talent. The talent that I'll be displaying is singing and various other talents from other people, as yours will also be singing, I believe. And
And are the two of you, is it a competition or are you just Oh, wow.
It's a competition.
Oh, so you're putting
About
space
so.
between yourselves because you're like, okay, this is the flag raising that you already had earlier this month, and then I'm going to have a little video after where it shows the community celebration from last year, because this is the 13th year that on Saturday, right, Weezy, you have a community celebration?
That's our festival, actually.
Nice.
And so we'll have music, we'll have vendors there. We'll have a lot of fun, the games for kids to play, bouncy houses and all that. Anitra is our queen candidate, and we have another queen candidate that's not here, and William is our king candidate, and there's another candidate that's not here.
Super fun. Anitra, why would you invite everyone to attend these events?
Why would I invite
Yep.
everyone? I just feel like it would be a very fun thing to go attend to. It would be something that I feel like everybody would remember for like a very long time.
Absolutely.
Have great memories about it.
It is family and friends, and we're all part of the family. William, real quick, why would you invite everyone to go?
As she said, it's a great time to be there. You can enjoy yourselves with family and friends, and all the activities there you can enjoy.
Celebrate freedom, just like you said, Weezy. This is for everybody. Juneteenth celebrates freedom for all, which truly is part of American history. There are some of the events. I'll put the full list that you were reading on WIBW.com so people can attend to all of them. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you letting us know about the celebration. Activities that happen year-round are centered around United Way of Kaw Valley. Their Day of Giving recently took place. It is a way to have a big giving campaign, pushing them to the end of their annual fundraising campaign, which runs through the month of June. So we had several organizations on to tell us how United Way of Kaw Valley helps their missions. Let's start with how it assists Topeka Rescue Mission. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
And we were saying, well, gee, which mission does this fall into? And you're like, all of the above.
Yes.
So if we had to run down United Way support, what's one of the first things it supports for the rescue mission?
We are so grateful for United Way of Kaw Valley in a lot of ways. One, we have grants from them that allow us to purchase food that goes out to our food distributions that happen every Tuesday and Thursday. We also have a significant grant from them that allows for our career and job readiness program, but it's not just that class, it's also just a variety of educational classes that are offered for our guests. So we're thankful for that. We also, in the more recent years, have partnered with them greatly in regards to the warming centers. And so we utilize the United Way of Kaw Valley's platform for all of the volunteer signups for the community-wide warming centers, which is definitely no little feat. And so we're grateful for that as well.
When we go back to the education piece, when it comes to the overall mission of TRM, really basically helping those who are homeless or unsheltered have the skills to move past that chapter of their life, how big of a role does education play in that?
You know, education is a huge role in regards to true transformation happening in someone's life. And sometimes I think we think of education as maybe all academic or scholarly, but we have to remember we are tracking things, Melissa, called like the graying homeless, which is people who are essentially outliving any retirement that they may have had or that become injured in later years, and then now they are for the first time ever facing homelessness. And so education is not just the academic piece of learning something from a book, it's also life skills. It's also classes that are related to trauma intervention and understanding that you can heal from trauma that has occurred in your life. And so the skills that are in our education classes are really a wide variety that help transform to people.
And then volunteers and having some way to get those volunteers organized for you. How many people does it take to run a warming center?
Oh my goodness, more to count. To be honest, you know, depending on what the warming center site is, you have anywhere between 4 to 8 people per shift, and many of them do 8-hour shifts, so that's 3 shifts in a 24-hour period. And at one time, we had 5 warming centers happening at one time. So we definitely utilize their volunteer coordinator as well, and they work hand in glove with our volunteer coordinator. And so not only is it helpful to have the platform so it's easy for our community to sign up to help, but then it's also constantly looking at, we need more slots, we need less slots, we need this person to go to this area. And so I'm not being dramatic when I say the warming centers are life-saving measures, and we could not do that without United Way of Kaw Valley.
Yeah, you're focused on getting them set up. Something else can take care of the volunteers.
Correct.
And that's not just for Topeka Rescue Mission, the volunteer coordinating site. That's a lot of organizations utilize that platform.
Yes, and you know, is just so many different opportunities that we're blessed with too, that is kind of a byproduct of what United Way does. For instance, the Nancy Perry Day of Caring, you know, we are usually a recipient of that. And again, they're able to do that because of the generosity of the people that sign up for that platform.
Well, United Way Day of Giving, folks, we're counting down and helping you know because it is a week from today. So on June 10th, next Wednesday, this is the website we want you to bookmark and be ready. You can look at it now. You can see kind of what's there. uwcawvalley.org/Day of Giving. When you go there, give your gift next Wednesday, June 10th. There are a lot of matching gifts that you can unlock. And so you can make your donation work even harder. So just save the date, and we're going to meet more people along the way. Lamanda, thank you. And thank you to TRM for all the rescue mission does. One thing about United Way of Kaw Valley is they assess needs in a variety of areas. One of those has to do with addiction recovery and also re-entry, what happens when folks are re-entering society after they've been incarcerated. That is the work of Mirror Inc. Melissa Goodman and Kristen Shook told us how United Way Kaw Valley funding helps one of their job training programs. Welcome to you. For in real basic terms, Melissa, an overview, what does Mirror Inc. do?
So we provide substance use disorder treatment, prevention services, reentry, and then we have an incredible program called Work for Success.
That's a good one. How does United Way support some of those programs?
So for years, United Way has given us grants that have really helped us keep the doors open as far as not having to turn people away with really unique challenges.
And so the Jobs for Success program is one of them? Work for Success. Work for Success is one of them. Kristen, you oversee that program. What's the overarching goal here and how do people get involved with it?
So the goal with Work for Success is really to get to know individuals who are coming through our program, see where they are at in their lives, and meet any needs that they have so that they can get back on their feet, become employed, and get back to their families if they have families, but then also just figure out what success means to them and develop a path towards that success.
How do people come into your program? What's been their background?
So a lot of those individuals that we serve, they may be coming from recovery, they may be coming from homelessness, and they may be re-entering from incarceration, but maybe they're just in a career change with their life and trying to figure out something new to do.
When you think about some of those folks who are coming out of recovery, who are coming out of incarceration, Melissa, those are unique challenges. So what does United Way funding allow you to do to kind of meet people who have different needs, different backgrounds, maybe different ways of learning and different needs?
Yeah, so some of these unique challenges, they're not something that we could say, wait a few weeks to meet those needs. With United Way, thanks to United Way, sometimes we're able to meet those needs that day. So if someone needs help with a birth certificate or they need help with a vehicle repair, you know, a minor repair, if that's the only thing that's preventing them from getting to work, it's just incredible to be able to meet these needs quickly to help people right away.
How have you been able to see this make a true difference, Kristen?
So a couple stories come to mind, but I will share one that is recent. So there was a lady who had come into our program from incarceration. She was chronically homeless. But throughout the program and learning more about herself and developing a plan, she ended our program successfully, was able to obtain medication that was needed for her to maintain her sustainability and move forward and be able to actually go into the workforce, right? And she is still doing well. She got into sober living and she is actively being a member of society and comes in and tells us how she's doing and how it feels to finally feel normal.
That's amazing. Amazing, because you get to see the end result. And we're not talking about just in order to get a job and find work, they need a few classes. It's the whole wraparound lifestyle needs they have.
And that's one of my favorite things about the program is we tell people at your graduation day, we celebrate them and it's really big, but we want to see people years to come. And so they'll come in to help with a situation, but they might come in just to celebrate with us for a birthday or a sobriety date. And so we love being this safe place in the community that people can show up for.
Families and children are a big focus for United Way of Kaw Valley partner organizations as well. Parents as Teachers is among them. Nicole Fairley runs the PAT program in USD 501 Topeka Public Schools, and she explained how United Way of Kaw Valley assists them. Welcome to you.
Thank you so much for
I had just
having me.
said it's summer vacation time, but you said it does not slow down for you.
No, we're still busy. We're still out seeing families as much as possible and having some of our groups, so it'll be a fun summer.
For those who aren't familiar with Parents as Teachers, what does your program do?
So we are a parenting education program, except we support parents in their home. I like to think of us like a preschool, except we're with you there, helping you, support you as a parent and giving you ideas on what you can do with your child. The program is really supported by 4 areas, which is the home visits, group connections or our meetings that we have, screenings, and then resource network. So we're providing ideas, we're providing resources in our community, kind of an all-around thing to support families.
So it operates through the school district.
It operates through the school district.
It seems kind of, this is like a silly question to ask, because I know it really is kind of obvious, but how important are parents to a child's early education that makes it important for the schools to be part of this kind of program?
Absolutely. That is a really wonderful question. What we know is things like brain development, that the bulk of it, a brain child grows from 50% to 80% just in the first 3 years of life. And so how important is that to have those early experiences? So many things can happen that parents can be supporting and starting with their child as early as possible. And so we're really thinking of ourselves as how do we get kids ready for school as quickly as they can. We know that families that go through parents as teachers, children are better prepared for school and score better in several areas, including 3rd grade reading.
Goodness, yeah. So you can't wait until they turn 5
to
start teaching them things.
5,
okay.
Yeah.
So how does United Way of Kaw Valley then come in and support this program?
Yeah, United Way really supports us through lots of areas. They are a fiscal partner in several of our grants, but also through things like any sort of support they provide. It's through funding. Funding that helps us continue the program and to continue to offer these experiences to families in our community. And not just with parents as teachers, but also with our preschool programs through Topeka Public Schools, so that families can have access to early education as soon as possible. We just know how important it is to invest early in early education so that we don't have to invest so much down the road.
And public funding, I imagine, is a little bit short. When you talk about how the district is looking at their budget, and any district, I imagine their focus is going to be on the grades that they're actually teaching classes. So the early childhood sometimes needs to have this nonprofit
Absolutely,
component.
yeah, because there's not full funding necessarily for preschool slots. And so because of that and because of other things, it's really important to have our community support us and to support the programs that we are able to give to families.
So if someone wants to get in touch with parents as teachers, I imagine it's not just Topeka Public Schools, other districts probably have similar programs.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do? How do we get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So families are always welcome to reach out to our program, and we will more than happily connect you with one of the other programs in our area. What's nice is in Northeast Kansas, we have tons of parents as teachers programs.
And you all like each other.
We like each other. We talk about each other all the time. We attend events together. So we are happy to connect you, but look in your local school district and they likely have a Parents as Teachers program that you can connect with.
Very good. So this is one program that you can help during tomorrow's United Way of Kaw Valley Day of Giving. United Way of Kaw Valley, by the way, supports programs in Shawnee, Jefferson, Jackson, Douglas counties. So that's why it's Kaw Valley. It is all of those areas. It's super easy to give tomorrow. All you have to do is log on to the special website, uwkawvalley.org/Day of Giving. There's going to be a direct Day of Giving link tomorrow as well. Make your donation. There is at least one matching pledge that you can unlock by giving tomorrow as well. And it helps Nicole and her group and a lot of other organizations all year round. Thanks for coming in and sharing with us. Appreciate it. This year's Day of Giving raised more than $26,000 in 24 hours, all for United Way of Kaw Valley, but it is all pushing them to that overall goal for their annual giving campaign. If you'd like to help them out specifically, they have more than 36 partner organizations in Shawnee, Jefferson, Jackson, and Douglas counties. Go to uwkawvalley.org. There are instructions there on how to support them. Of course, many of you have United Ways in your own communities, so just search them out and get involved as a partner. That's a look at this week's edition of the Red Couch Rewind. Remember, you can see videos of these segments and all of our guests that we have in the studio when you go to WIBW.com or our WIBW News apps. We have that not just on a mobile device, but also on your Roku or Amazon Fire or other streaming platforms. Just search for the Eye on Northeast Kansas section. Until next time, we'll see you on the Red Couch.